What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another week of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Shad. What's going on,
What's
fellas?
good, y'all?
What's good? What's good?
It is Super Bowl week. It's the biggest game of the week. Obviously, we've got Chris's Philadelphia Eagles going against the Kansas City Chiefs. But obviously, we can't get into the Super Bowl at this point, given everything that's happened over the past week since we last connected with everybody. NBA trade deadline today as well. NFL honors and awards going on tonight, shortly after, or probably while we'll be taping this. But biggest news of the week, man. Luka Doncic has officially been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Bombshell that hit Saturday night, I think it was Sunday night. Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. The other players really don't matter. No disrespect to them, but they go and talk. They wasn't doing interviews and shit. So, man, what did y'all think when y'all? I mean, obviously we all heard the news at the same time. Kind of processed it at the same time, but reflecting back on it and given now that it's been almost a week since, how do you guys feel about the trade and kind of everything that went down?
One of the craziest things I've ever seen. And at the time I thought, like what in the world is Dallas doing? And then I was thinking like, okay, there gotta be something else to this. There gotta be something else to this. And now, like you said, it's been 5 days. And the only thing that we've heard really are just those rumors about him gaining weight and all this other stuff. So I'm still sitting here on Thursday wondering what the hell is Dallas doing? Like, what are they doing? And why did they do this? I don't want to say I get Nico's explanation from his press conference talking about, like deep, like value in defense and all that. It would be more understandable for me if Luka Doncic didn't just come off of a long postseason run, making it to the finals. It would be a little bit. It would make a little bit more sense if they didn't even make it to that spot. But you just made it to that spot, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around why you would trade a 25-year-old superstar, maybe in his prime, the start of his prime. And I get, like, even take away basketball, like, this is a business, and you trade away your most valuable asset to get Anthony Davis in, who's also 31. I don't want to take all your talking points, but like it's one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen the GM do. And Nico Harrison, I don't agree with it at all. I think it's crazy. I think it's absolutely crazy.
I mean, yeah, it was crazy. I troll all the time. I was just saying that I like to trade for Dallas, but the real issue here for me is there's no real reason why they traded him. Like you get trades all the time, and then a lot of people are able to justify, like, oh, I could see the benefit. I could see why they might. I mean, like you said, Kat, you just came off of a finals run. And sure, your defense was bad, but I mean, that's somebody you're supposed to be able to build around. I mean, he's only 25, and that's the main talking point of most of the young athletes, like their age range. Okay, they're not even hitting this; they're supposed to be entering their prime. They're supposed to be doing this, that, and the third. And it's like you don't have no building blocks anymore, or a building block. You got Kyrie, but I mean he's getting up there in age. Anthony Davis, like you said, Cass, he's up there and on the other side of 30, but he's still he gets injured a lot, and so it's like as a Dallas, I feel like if I was a Dallas Mavericks fan, I would be irate. I'll be pissed. There's nothing you would probably be able to tell.
That's why they were out there.
To make me feel
had a whole sigil out there in front of the stadium.
The situation.
I don't know.
That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah,
crazy.
They did. What did they bring a coffin out there?
They brought a coffin. They had candles.
Whatever else they was doing, man. Yeah, man. It's tough because I mean, my first initial thought was, is something else coming in terms of, not to wish anything upon somebody, but like a Deshaun Watson situation where maybe somebody in Dallas then tipped them off, and they're like, all right, let's get this nigga off, and maybe that's something to come. And once again, not trying to wish that upon anybody, but that was like my initial. I mean, it doesn't make sense. That would be the only thing that would it has to be something coming aside from, and we may not know until the summer or until next year or for some time because we're now in it. But I just feel like there's got to be more to it. But with that being said, last year during the finals, obviously there was a lot of talk about the defense. You know, I to an extent I understand what people are saying, but you got to the finals, which everybody was saying the West was so tough and this, that, and the third. Was there no defense at that point? They got to the conference finals a few years ago with no Kyrie. Was there no defense at that point? Saying you struggled guarding Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
It's tough for anybody.
Okay, like they
Right.
had a historically great season last year. Even to the point like the Cavs are having a great season this year. Just got damn near waxed by the Celtics the other night. The Thunder. I mean, these teams struggle against the Celtics. They've been great. They've been a team that's been in the finals a couple years ago. They've been on the cusp of the finals and then got back to the finals. So they were already and I know Chris likes to say everybody was picking Dallas, which they were to an extent. They were also a heavy favorite throughout the entirety of the season. So it's okay, I don't know, but I do hate it because people have been talking about Anthony Davis like he's some bum, like he is not that guy, and not something that everybody would have wanted at at a point in time, and really even now. It just kind of came out of nowhere with maybe if we had some type of trade request, or I mean, I guess we did have some type of hint at that possibility happening because I don't know if y'all remember, but last year it was like Game 3. Brian Windhorst had went in on Luka Doncic. And he basically said everything that has transpired and come out since then, in terms of the trade. But he also came out and said nobody ever gave him pushback. So I don't know if he said normally he would at least hear something from somebody, but nobody ever. And that could just be to draw up the drama of it. But that's something that is notable. But we talked about it. I don't know who else, even if, people are saying you could have shopped and got so much more. I know people, and there's been the anonymous quotes where they're saying people, GMs or whomever, is saying that they would give up everything. I really don't know realistically, who's giving up what for Luka. We kind of talked through it, but the best player that would probably be available would be like Anthony Edwards. That's of a young age. That's a superstar or even a star. Jason Tatum's probably not going to, I mean, I'm not going to say probably. In my opinion, Jason Tatum's not available. He's should be up there of untouchable, should have been higher than Luka, in my opinion. Jokic is not going nowhere. Giannis is not, well, maybe, but probably not going nowhere. And Shea. Who else?
But that's the thing though. It's like you can't say who else because there is nobody on that level that makes sense, which is why this trade is a bad trade. You make this kind of trade if you're trying to get assets for the future. If you're trying to build up draft picks. A win now move to trade a 25-year-old player who's averaging 30 points a game, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So yeah, there isn't a lot of like tit for tat with it or player for player. I get it, AD, and like you said, people are treating AD like he's chopped liver, which he's not. But at the same time, he is 6 years younger, so it messes up the timeline. And then you turn around and give up trade away another 24-year-old, 23-year-old, or 24 up and coming guard in Grimes, and get back a 29-year-old. Which one was it? Cody Martin. So it's like,
yeah,
I think it was Caleb.
Whichever one it was.
Yeah,
it was Caleb. All right. So you get back Caleb 29, and it's like, okay, you're trying to push all your chips in. You better win.
But that just make me feel like they don't know what they're doing, because it's the simple fact of if it is true that they had a third team with the trade and Danny Ainge supposedly didn't know that the fuck was going on. And that's for good reason. Obviously, Rob Pelinka, like, if this nigga know what I'm getting for what I'm giving him, he's gonna say fuck no. He's like, hell no. So it's like, it's one of the things, like,
Yeah.
did you really think about, like you said, Sean, it has to, like, it could very well still come out, but it has to be something.
Everybody has the same
It's
thought.
gotta be something, because
Yeah.
it's like,
And-
bro, what are you doing?
And to be honest, and I also, I was kind of going, obviously, we were all, everybody that was up at that point in time was definitely going through the thought process at that point in time. Like, why would they do this? I was kind of thinking about it, if they are saying that if it is true, I don't know, he's fat or whatever, his attitude or whatever, which I don't like to get into that because obviously we are not there and who knows, at the end of the day. But, I was thinking like he has been a professional for longer than his age. So is there a potential, I know people may have floated that his prime could have been earlier because he was a professional earlier and now he's out of his prime. Okay, that's a possibility. Is he maybe a guy that's hinted at an early retirement? Maybe, I don't know, does he retire in 5 years? So now that 5-year plan looks a little different, which still, there's a little weird, but also like you've been a pro for however long he's been a pro. Obviously, actually, I think it's been close to 10 years, if not over
about
10
15, 16.
So longer than that. So you should know how to take care of your body. You should know how to carry yourself as a pro. And if you aren't learning it now, then you're never going to learn it. And I can definitely understand that as well, to an extent. Obviously, it's still a 25-year-old Luka. So I don't know. And then focusing on the win now, if we are trying to make sense of it for Dallas, I do think that it makes sense in terms of getting AD because if you look at the league, and the Celtics are kind of a special case, but even then, they've got some good bigs. Obviously, Kristaps Porzingis, Al
That
Horford.
double big
They do
coming
play
back.
Jason Tatum at the power forward, But all the double bigs, whether and I want to plug the Cavs in here to just be like it's trying to match the Cavs, but obviously the Cavs have two really good bigs that they doubled down on this summer. But you have to look at Jokic and like I said before, an answer to Jokic and an answer to Giannis, because no matter what you feel about the Celtics. Those are really the two, most people think the two best players in the league. So you kind of have to move as if the two best players in the league are going to be in the finals as opposed, disrespectfully to the Celtics, as opposed to a team that just won the championship. So you look at the Timberwolves, they had the double bigs. Obviously, the Thunder are kind of doing it a little bit with Chet and Hartenstein. The Cavs, obviously, the Celtics have multiple bigs. The Grizzlies made a priority to get a big this offseason and have been making it a priority over the past few seasons. The Rockets. So, in that sense, I maybe can get it as well. You're like, I may never beat Jokic with. I don't know. I don't know.
But I mean, it does suck for Luka too. At the same time, he had no idea. Of course, if the reports are true that he just bought a $15 million house and then has to, he's obviously gonna keep it, but obviously gonna move to LA and start over pretty much. That press conference the other day, was it yesterday? He was looking a little sick. He was looking a little like just like he didn't know how to respond to all of this, and that's tough for a young player who never thought that he would be in this position. So it is wild. It is wild.
Yeah,
but again, he's back at practice. They saying he about to play this weekend, probably as soon as early next week. If not, it's like it's not the injury. So like what?
I don't know. We'll find out this summer. But with that being said, the Lakers also acquired Mark Williams in a trade with the Hornets, getting rid of Dalton Connect, which had to be tough for them. Some other big trades that happened: Zach LaVine, obviously going to the Kings. De'Aaron Fox getting his wishes and going to the San Antonio Spurs, which I think is a big move given the pieces that they did not give up. Kyle Kuzma going to the Bucks, DeAndre Hunter going to the Cavs, Jimmy Butler, I guess, is the biggest one. He kind of became an afterthought going to the Warriors. But, if you guys want to talk about the Jimmy Butler trade, you absolutely can. But in terms of all the trades that have kind of happened, what are trades that you guys liked or disliked, and aside from the Luka one, given the craziness that went around that one, and kind of the craziness that went around the trade deadline?
It was active, huh, Cass? I guess I like the De'Aaron Fox one. I mean, I guess that was one person I didn't think would move from Sacramento. I thought maybe that's somebody like a franchise player for them, but I could like that combination of him and Wemby. I think they'll do wonders. One of the interesting thing is not even it's a trade that didn't happen. That was just floated around the whole time, which is Kevin Durant. I find that to be interesting. That it's been reported that they had a deal set up for him to go back to Golden State. He ultimately told them like, "Hell no, I ain't going." But that Jimmy Butler, it doesn't move me. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't fit to me. I don't see where the fit is. Spacing is bad to me. I don't know. They gonna fuck up Steph last few years in the league, man. That's how I look at it.
And the reports that they were being like they were like desperate and all this stuff, it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help anything with that situation, especially in like the locker room too. Because like, dog, like y'all desperate. All right, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that deal. There's a lot of deals I didn't like. It's more that I didn't, obviously more that I didn't like than what did happen. I'll let you speak about it more, shot. But my favorite one is probably that DeAndre Hunter one, and that's because he's coming off of, I mean, in the midst of his career year, shooting 39% from three, averaging his career high like 19 points a game. Question marks about the other side of that is like, what exactly are the Hawks doing? They get rid of him, and you turn around and get rid of Bogdanovic, which I can get that more. Of course, that's been reported that's probably going to happen. Then you get in Terrence Mann and Bones Highland, and it's like, okay, well, what's the direction there? Now you hear that Trae Young is starting to become unhappy. It's so many just bad reports. And then on the flip side of that, the Clippers give up Terrence Mann, and it's like, okay, this was the player that supposedly held y'all back from getting a lot of people in the past, a lot of key players to pair up with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the past, and now you just trade them. So it's just a lot of question marks going around. BI to Toronto. What's the move? What? Why? Like, what's the point there? It's a lot of question marks. And like you said, Chris, and you just saying on here, but you said it in our chat, like trading just to trade. This is honestly one of those, and it was a very active deadline. I will say that it's one of the most active deadlines that we've had in a long time. But like, it does kind of feel like some of these teams are just trading just to trade. So I mean, we'll see how it all shakes up. But like, needle movers, it was really just that Luka trade, DeAndre Hunter trade.
And the Luka trade has shot the Lakers' championship odds up, which, the people that think that LeBron and Luka can't play together, okay. Okay. But, I do want to start there in terms of what you said, trading just to trade. Obviously, we're kind of just talking shit, but there's a little truth in every joke there. But I do think there's a lot of truth in the fact that that's kind of the problem with the media in a sense in the league, because once again we're sitting, we've been hearing all year about the decline in the ratings or whatever, or the NBA, blah blah blah, just stuff like that. A lot of things that I've been seeing on Twitter since, especially since the Luka trade, has been people saying, the NBA has gotten my interest back. What do you mean? You were just complaining and saying that it was a bunch of threes being shot. It was a bunch of this, that, and the third. Nobody knows, everybody's moving. Nobody's loyal. All this extra shit. Now you're interested because of a trade, but nothing about the game has changed. They say the league is soft, blah, blah, blah. So it may, to that point, it's almost like the media, to an extent, has dramatized trading and free agency and made storylines out of that more so than they made storylines out of the game, the actual game itself. And I think that is a very big problem in terms of how the league is covered, in terms of, and really why there's rating issues, because we do always have these random, like, it'll be like a 2 week. And I mean, really, the NBA has taken over Super Bowl week, which is a big accomplishment. But where do you go from here if nobody's actually talking about the story of the game? We're not talking
Exactly.
about how the Cavs have built their team. We're not talking about how and have been kind of a homegrown built team aside from Donovan. You haven't talked about like how obviously Shea kind of stemming from initially the Russell and Paul George trades and stuff like that. But how the Thunder have built their team as the two best teams in the league right now. We're not talking about the Rockets, how they built their team, and the storylines of those young stars, kind of growing and making their team a real contender in this league. So every year we have 2 weeks where a bunch of trades happen. It's going to happen again in the summer in July, right after the finals, and everybody's going to be talking about it. Now, where do we go from here? So I would say that that was a big point that in my mind that I just been paying attention to. It's like, okay, everybody's excited. There's a lot of games now being flexed to ESPN and stuff like that. But, are we going to now get some real talk about the game and who's actually doing what they're supposed to do, and stuff like that? Or are we going to still be getting jokes about who's fat and XYZ and who's going to be looking to be, they lose in the first round, he's going to be looking to be out. And they've already said it. And Chris kind of did it himself. It's all going to be about KD getting traded in the summer. They've already set the table for it. If you look at all the reports, they're like, oh, KD's no longer going to Phoenix, but that means everything's going to be on the table in the summer. They're already trying to set the table for it. So, media, get right. But I do want to talk about the Cavs. Yes, I do want to talk about the Cavs because this was a great day, man. This was a great day because, they're really a contender. We're at the point in the season. I've been saying it, earlier in the season, but I think they're at the point in the season where we really can call them a contender. And to go back to my point about we're not talking about storylines of the game, I'm going to talk about Kobe Altman because when LeBron left Cleveland, or when Kyrie left Cleveland originally, that is when Kobe Altman became the GM or president of basketball operations, whatever his title is now. Obviously, originally the Cavs were in talks to get Chauncey Billups. They obviously got rid of David Griffin, and there was a lot of questions about what the Cavs were doing. They traded Kyrie to the Celtics for Isaiah Thomas, and I was not a big fan of that. And, they obviously got a first-round pick that ended up turning into Colin Sexton. Basically, every single move that Kobe Altman has made since LeBron has left has been a great one. So, you look at the Colin Sexton pick. When you get Colin Sexton, you also pick up Dean Wade in undrafted free agency. You end up getting Darius Garland the very next year. Then you end up getting Isaac Okoro. That kind of sets the stage there. You end up picking up Evan Mobley and picking up Lauri Markkanen. Or the year before, when you got Isaac Okoro, you end up getting Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen in throwaway trades that nobody really was talking about. And obviously, Karis LeVert has now become DeAndre Hunter. But you end up picking up Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen, who was Lauri Markkanen was signed like a week before the season started. May not have been that. But he was signed very, very late in the game as somebody that was kind of a throwaway. Once again, he ends up being the biggest piece in the Donovan Mitchell trade. So basically, all the strings that Kobe Altman has pulled, including signing J.B. Bickerstaff to be the head coach, including firing J.B. Bickerstaff to be the head coach, he's pulled all the right strings, and ultimately the Cavs are the 1 seed in the league right now, obviously, or in the East. We'll see if they can compete with the Celtics now with DeAndre Hunter coming over there. But Kobe Altman deserves to be talked about a lot more just based on everything, because even this summer, I was talking about we got to trade XYZ, and it was a big question mark this summer. And he doubled down. Evan Mobley shooting like 40% from the 3-point line, and everything that he's done has basically been proven right. So shout out Kobe Altman. Deserves to be executive of the year this year. Well, we'll see what DeAndre Hunter does, but he deserves some more love because there's been a lot of question marks about him, and he's done nothing but arguably been one of the best GMs in the league over the past 6-7 years. So
I agree. I like, out of all that, I think the coaching part is the biggest part of that to me, because it's like you get rid of JB and you've had great seasons with JB, but then you understand that there's a limit to that, and you see it right now with the Pistons. Like he is JB is a great coach.
he is,
but
there's going to be a limit to it.
There's a limit, you know what I mean? And you can obviously see, like, he has Detroit. They're in the midst of the damn play-in. They're 7th seed right now. And it's like, okay, nobody really thought that, but JB's a great coach. But you also need to bring somebody in to get them over the hump. But we'll see if it happens in the playoffs. Of course, that's a whole different story. But right now, at 41-10, more than halfway through the season, it's very impressive.
And the thing about it is, even further, like, if the Cavs are able to win, and that's a huge if, you have I don't want to say heavy favorite, but they're going to be a favorite, maybe a co-favorite with the Celtics next year to win the title. But they have, where the Celtics are a little different, is their complementary players, like the Drew Holidays, the Al Horfords, are a little older. Everybody else is in their prime and locked in until, like, I think the entire core is locked in until like 2027, and like including DeAndre Hunter. So like the only people that are, or I actually haven't pulled it up right here. The only people that need to be signed over the next 3 years is Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill and Tristan Thompson. So like, just like we were looking at the Celtics last year where they signed a bunch of players, like these are players that are already signed. So that's not even a problem that they really have to worry about. And Ty Jerome just got his college teammate that he won a championship with to come over. So maybe he signs, I don't know if he signs for the low, but, and they got to keep their first round pick in Jalen Tyson. So shout out Kobe Allen. Fuck, nigga, let's go. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, what did it say, Chris? What did it say? They trade and move no needle, huh?
Yeah.
What y'all odds is now, bro?
He didn't move no needle. He didn't move at all. I don't even know if they're top. I think they might be 3 behind the Celtics.
The Thunder, probably.
Maybe they might be ahead of the Thunder. But obviously, they probably would be behind the Thunder because it would be, obviously they have to go to the Celtics. But shout out the league, shout out the NBA. You really did. You gotta follow it up, but you did a good job because all the talk has been about the NBA during Super Bowl week, and obviously all we've talked about to this point has been the NBA. So let's go ahead and get into the Super Bowl. Obviously, we've talked about it enough, but Patrick Mahomes is getting possibly getting his 3rd straight Super Bowl, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, let me not just say Patrick Mahomes. It would be the first time a team three-peats. The Eagles get an opportunity to get some revenge against the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you guys think about the week? Obviously, we've heard some stuff about the Eagles being a little sick. We really haven't gotten too much news just in general on the Super Bowl, but there's been a lot of, the little questions about the refs and stuff to the Chiefs. So, going into the week, how are you guys feeling in terms of where are you leaning? And, we can get into the picks after the hot seat, but just the entire week of Super Bowl week.
It's funny because, like you said, we ain't heard too much about the actual games and stuff. Besides the sickness that's going around, you could thank the NBA for that. You could also thank Myles Garrett saying what he said on Sunday or Monday, whenever that came up. Cooper Kupp coming out and saying, like, I'm leaving soon. That type of stuff, like everything else around it, is getting way more attention, which, in a media-driven sport, that is what it is. But as far as the actual game, also with it being the 2nd time in 3 years, that's another reason why people aren't jumping over, for joy, ready to watch this. But I'm excited to see this game, though. Like, honestly, from both sides. I think there's a big chance for Nick Sirianni. We talked about it throughout the year. But there's a big chance for Nick Sirianni to really stamp his legacy, the beginning of his legacy, I should say, in this league and with this game. I think it's very important. You understand how the Super Bowl went last time, and of course, it's different players on both sides of the ball, but the core is still the same. You know what I mean? Even after a couple of years. So this is a big opportunity for redemption in a way, and I get it. That the Chiefs are chasing history and everything, but I really see it as a huge opportunity for Nick Sirianni and that team and Jalen Hurts. And I would like to see it come to fruition, but we'll see. But I love that storyline going into it from the Eagles' point of view.
I agree. This and it's for me it's difficult because it's just like, man, it's hard to get to this point. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl. It's hard to go through a 17 game season. You got your ups and downs, but it just seems like they at a crossroads. Like if they lose, it's just that's gonna be a stupid headline. It's just for no reason. It's like I get it. You got to go out there. You got to win the game. But like Shai just said, like this is 2 times in 3 years. He's only been the head coach for 4 years as a Eagles head coach, and he made it to the Super Bowl twice. Yet, any storyline as far as the Philadelphia Eagles this week has been, what does Nick Sirianni do? Like, did he really help them like get over the hump? Did he really help them get out the funk or whatever? And I just hate it for them. Not, I mean, obviously because I'm an Eagles fan, but I just like, man, like my team. I've been an Eagles fan since 2004. Yeah, we had success in general, but make it to the Super Bowl. This is only the 4th time. I mean, and for the most part, only team that's like dominated throughout these 2 decades been like the Patriots and now the Chiefs. So it ain't easy to get there. And for a coach being the first time head coach, being there for 4 years and making it there twice, I think that's an accomplishment, even if they do lose. But that ain't how everybody gonna see it. So they gotta win this shit.
They definitely got to win because the headlines just in general. I mean, for all of them, I mean it changes everything. Obviously, you have to. I mean, the Eagles would be, in my opinion, especially depending on how Jalen Hurts plays, they would be a strong candidate to start looking at, like maybe how the 49ers did, where they traded up to try to go for a Trey Lance. And, that's, unfortunately for Jalen Hurts, because how do you say that about somebody that's gone to the Super Bowl for, 2 out of 3 years? But that's just kind of how things go sometimes. They're always going to focus on the quarterback. Obviously, a lot of the talk has been they've gotten here because of Saquon, and stuff like that. So that, and then the Nick Sirianni, the first thing that's going to be said is we're looking at Bill Belichick next year, or even people are going to start saying Bill Belichick in the June timeline or whatever. The Eagles will have their structure, blah blah blah, with Roseman and whomever else, and they can still bring on Bill Belichick late last minute. So there's going to be a lot of storylines there, but obviously the storyline of the Kansas City Chiefs going for a three-peat. The other storyline that nobody's really talking about is the Travis Kelce retirement. I'm going to bring it back though. Getting out of here.
3 years in a row,
retiring.
he said he got a lot of football left in him. That's what you said.
He say that.
On
Yeah,
Tuesday.
it sound good, but he's definitely out of here. Definitely out of here. I'm calling it. He can't come back. All right. Let me not say he can't come back, but that does not look like a man that can come back or that should be playing football again. Because he's slowing down every year, and we don't want to see Travis as a shell of himself. But with that being said, can he give you 3 games if they are able to continue a run and maybe go for a 4-peat?
That would be insane.
Which would be tough to say no to. But I think that's a huge storyline, and not only him, DeAndre Hopkins, because obviously he hasn't performed, to DeAndre Hopkins standards, and we heard over the week we did hear him talk about how he lost his love of the game with the Titans, and maybe he has gotten his love for the game back, but maybe it's more like he sees the mission that he has an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, and that time has come. So,
yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of stuff to watch over the next over the next couple of days, and that's an exciting thing in terms of when Sunday comes around and seeing who's finally going to hoist the trophy. But as Cass alluded to, we do have to get into the Myles Garrett trade request from the Browns. Obviously, something probably everybody expected, but in terms of suitors, since you guys, I mean, he mentioned that he wants to go a contender. Where could you guys see him going?
That's a tough one because, of course, everybody's saying right now, the Commanders, the Commanders, the Commanders. You know, they're a hot commodity right now. Everybody wants to go to Commanders now to play with a young quarterback. I don't necessarily see that as a. I mean, obviously, Myles Garrett is going to fit anywhere. I get that. You know, it's what it is. I don't necessarily think they should make that move though. It's hard for me to say where else he could go. Personally, I think the Browns should just keep him. That's where I'm at with it. As far as being traded, but like you look around at teams like the Lions and the Bears and all these other teams being mentioned, it's like, okay, like you come out and say that you want to go to a contender. A lot of that shit's up in the window, man. Every year is different. Y'all were just in the playoffs just last year. You know what I mean? I get like, you know, you have teams that are there, you know, perennially, like the Eagles, like the Chiefs, but that shit is not guaranteed. And if you go to a place where you go to the Commanders, right? They're still in the division, and it's very possible Dallas could be good again. Very possible. So you're in a division, you're in a tough division that you're going to struggle to win because the Eagles are there as well. What if you don't make the playoffs? What if you do all this and still don't make the playoffs? And then like that's the tough part about coming out and saying, I want to win now. I want to go to a contender. Da, da, da. Like you don't know. We don't know. You don't know unless. And on the flip side of that, you got players like Max Crosby. And he's saying like, last thing I would do is go to the Chiefs. But if you want to, like at this, looking at history, looking at what we've seen the past 5 years or 6 years, that's where you need to go to be quote unquote guaranteed a spot. Other than that, you don't know what's going to happen. 49ers are not in the playoffs right now. You know what I mean? You go to the Bills, sure, but I don't know. I don't like trade requests like that. I understand he had to do it for him. You know, he's looking at this, and you kind of seen bits and pieces of his like dissatisfaction in Hard Knocks, when he would just be sitting on the side, you know, just leaning back and just like you could tell that shit it was bothering him, you know, just seeing that quarterback situation. But I don't have a clean fit for him right now if that's what he's looking for. So to say all that,
I mean, it's interesting because it's not a free agent. You got to get traded. So then you got to look at the aspect of what are you willing to give up? Because I mean, even though he's supposedly, I guess you could say he might have. I mean, people might say you have the leverage if you are already making it known that you want to be traded. But at the same time, I'm the Brown, like you said, Cass. I'm not about to trade you for no fucking third round pick. Like I gotta get something. I gotta get something for real back. Like this is Myles Garrett we talking about. I can see them obviously trading them to an NFC team. Now again, like you said, Cass, it's difficult. And NFL it's a different in NFL than NBA because NBA you got your set top teams for the most part. But like you said, Cass, 49 was just in the Super Bowl. They're not even in the playoff this year. It can flip on a dime like that.
It's like the Commanders. If you they're saying like he can go for 2 first, right? If I'm the Commanders, I don't know. I don't know. Like I understand.
Like
exactly. I understand getting Myles Garrett. I understand what he is, but at the same time, this is your chance to build around him, and you giving away 2 like premium picks. And I get like you're projecting that they're going to be in the 20s and 30s. Okay, cool. But at the same time, you don't know that, and it's tough. It's tough.
But if I had to throw a team,
I honestly, I can see that. Somebody has said JJ McCarthy for Myles Garrett.
I mean,
they need a quarterback, goddamn.
You gotta trust Sam though. But
trust Sam.
You know, I think, you know, we have to kind of take it as face value in terms of he wants to go to a contender. But I think for me, I think the more important piece was him saying that well, I don't know if he said it I can't remember if he said it in the actual like letter that he put out or if he said it in his interview with, I think it was Rich. But he basically was saying that him and the front office weren't seeing eye to eye in terms of the direction of the team. So could he go to a team where he is aligned with the direction of the team that is maybe not a Kansas City Chiefs or a Philadelphia Eagles where they're 100% in the Super Bowl, but they're a team that maybe has a quarterback that is in a position that he feels that they can go. But I mean, in terms of teams, I mean, I would look at Tampa Bay. Obviously, they're a team that's kind of still in a win now window. Obviously, there was the issues with him and Baker, and then given the division, Tampa kind of has a stronghold on the division over the past few years. I would also say you could look at, and this is where to fit into the direction of the team, like a Joey Bosa for Myles Garrett, and maybe send a first as well, because obviously Joey Bosa played at Ohio State. Maybe they take him as a pass rusher. The Browns maybe feel, I don't know what direction the Browns feel like they're going, or what. There's been rumors of them taking a quarterback. There's been rumors of them taking Abdul Carter. We have no idea until really we get past the Super Bowl and free agency. But
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I don't know if I would go to the Commanders. That's going to be the popular team because they're have been kind of a popular team over the past. And like I said a couple weeks ago, they're going to be the new Houston. Everybody was hyping up Houston to be the Super Bowl contender. And obviously they did end up winning a playoff game, but we ended up seeing what ultimately happened to them. And I wouldn't be surprised if Washington's in the same boat next year, especially given that Washington's probably going to be in a tougher division than Houston was this year. So
Exactly.
I don't know. But the Cooper Kupp stuff was weird too, because basically told him you're getting the fuck out of here. And I know Matt Stafford's wife wanted to
she
be
gotta stop, bro.
the main character. So
No, all disrespect
no disrespect to her in terms of like I mean, she could obviously, she's a part of it, but it's like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't see what the issue is, because they was already trying to trade him this year before the deadline, up until they won that game. Who they play? I want to say the Vikings. They won that game against the Vikings right before the trade deadline.
It was the
Vikings. And they was like, all right, we're just going to keep him. And then they made a run. But they was already looking to shop him. What is she talking about?
Yeah.
And they've been looking to shop him for basically like 2-3 years.
Yeah, it was last offseason
right,
too. That some rumors are going around.
Messed up his hamstring. He was in and out. Luka came, showed up, showed out, and it was like, well, shit. Hey, let's see what we get from him. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, like 2 straight 700-yard seasons for him. The injuries are catching up. He says he's as healthy as ever. Of course, he put that in that note as well. But like, I mean, landing spots for him is going to be tough. And I saw the report. We'll see if it's true or not about the Rams taking on some of the salary to help facilitate a trade.
They said a lot.
They said a good chunk of it. Which honestly, you have to do in a case like this. I mean, just being realistic. Like landing spots for him. Who's signing up for that? I mean,
I think
people will.
I think it was more so to like that was put out as more so like, out of respect for him, we will take the chunk so that he can go to a place
where he wants to go.
Commanders.
Yeah,
type deal.
I mean, everybody like, bro, it's gonna be like this all season. It's gonna be even worse during free agency.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know where Cooper Kupp goes. The fit I see, kind of, is Houston. That's because the OC just came from their new OC just came from the Rams. What's his name? Nick Haley or whatever. And they have a need at wide receiver. But I don't.
He go Jacksonville.
It'll be interesting to see how that kind of shakes out.
He go Jacksonville. They need another receiver down there.
And there's connections there too. There's connections there.
I could see Jacksonville. I mean, I could see the Chiefs, honestly. The Chiefs probably end up. Well, I can see them because obviously Rashee Rice is going to be working back from his injury. Then he's probably going to get hurt. I mean, not hurt. Probably going to get suspended. Suspended. I'm sorry. He's probably going to get suspended. And obviously stemming from his trials and tribulations this offseason. So, they will need somebody to kind of fill that juju, kind of do it all, can hang back type of role. And I can see Cooper Kupp being that person. So, if they're willing to take on, obviously, the money and stuff like that. And then if Travis Kelce does truly retire, now you have a kind of like that safety net in Cooper Kupp. So, and he's probably going to want to try to go to a team that he knows for sure can compete.
Yeah.
I feel like he's probably in more of a free agent position than Myles Garrett. So, but with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the hot seat. Hot seat watch going into the Super Bowl week. Who you guys got this week and why?
Go ahead, Chris.
This worked for me last time, so I'm gonna do it again, man. I'm putting my quarterback and coach on the hot seat again, like we said earlier. This game is career defining for me. I mean, you made it to the Super Bowl the first time, okay. You're a second year coach, second year starter. I'm not gonna say whether people thought you should have made it or not. That's neither here nor there. But you made it a second time. That doesn't happen often. I mean, the Chiefs, they're showing their dominance right now. Before then, it was the Patriots, but that doesn't happen often, man. This is again career defining, and like you can make your mark on the NFL with a win. I ain't gonna say convincing win, but a win will make a mark on the NFL. So y'all gotta go out here and do everything you can to win the game. Do your job. Do what got you there, man. Don't differentiate from anything you was doing. Keep doing what y'all been doing. Go get the dub. So, yeah. It might be a cop out.
Okay.
I need it. I need it.
I like. I mean, I'm gonna stick with that team for mine. And I'm gonna go Darius Slay. Now he's one of the leaders on that defense. But we understand that he's getting up there in age. We don't know exactly what his future looks like. The report saying that next season could be his last. My hot seat watch is for him because you want to make sure that you have that opportunity to kind of make that decision yourself and not force into it in a way, which might be past that point anyway. But ending off with a Super Bowl ring, you know what I mean? I think you'll be in a better position to kind of ride it out there. If you win a Super Bowl, you ain't going nowhere. You get to retire Eagle, you're fine. But it's also the possibility where you lose a Super Bowl, they look to like, all right, let's go with our young boys. Let's bring in somebody else for depth at the cornerback position and get rid of Slay. And he's been a great pickup for that team. Obviously, Chris, for the past few years. So my hot season for him, I want to see him go out in a big game, like you talked about D-Hop. Got something to prove, and the other weapons they have over there, receiver with Worthy. We'll see what Hollywood Brown kind of cooks up. The onus going to be on Slay and Quinion and Cooper and all them, but Slay being the leader of that secondary for sure. So let's see what you guys there, Darius Slay. You're on the hot seat. Let's see. Big play Slay.
So we're all on the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
I'm going with A.J. Brown here for my hot seat watch. A.J. Brown, there has been a lot of talk about you in terms of turmoil. I won't say turmoil, but being I don't want to say being the source of issues, but have definitely been one of the ones to call it out. And obviously being kind of the fire starter for a lot of the passing questions that happened this year, and then obviously the stupid book stuff. But it basically in talks for all the wrong reasons. When they really should be talking about you being the best receiver in the league. A.J. Brown has been a 3-time All-Pro back-to-back years, obviously second-team All-Pro. But just about everybody has been talked about as the best player or the best receiver in the league, except for the guy that's been in the Super Bowl 2 out of the past 3 years. We obviously hear about Justin Jefferson all the time, and rightfully so. Obviously, the statistics back it up for Justin Jefferson. We obviously seen, Jamar Chase this year. I'm pretty sure he completed the Triple Crown and got the Triple Crown this year. We obviously heard about Tyreek Hill last year. We've heard about Cooper Kupp when he won the Super Bowl MVP. We've heard about all these receivers, and here CeeDee Lamb, and here A.J. Brown has been consistent, been a star receiver for multiple different teams, and as I said, a 3-time All-Pro in an offense that people like to say does not pass the ball a lot, and obviously we see does not pass the ball a lot as well. So AJ Brown obviously had a big game in the first game, and his counterpart, also had a big game as well. But this is your opportunity. You're going against a cornerback that some people say is a top 3-4 cornerback in the league. Obviously, he's not going to be trapped. Well, he might travel with you the entire time. We'll see. But a defense that has been touted as one of the top defenses in the league, and obviously in a revenge game, in a season that a lot of eyes have been on you, like I said, for some of the wrong reasons, and some positive reasons with the book. Obviously, you helped that man get
But that man
rich.
gotta be rich.
Honestly.
But
Honestly.
it gotta be some. But with that being said, AJ Brown, you gotta have a big game for this team because they're probably gonna try to hold. Oh, one last thing. One last thing. Aside from giving the credit of best receiver in the league, everybody has been talking about Saquon Barkley. This shit started with AJ Brown. AJ Brown's acquisition was what propelled the Eagles to becoming a contender. So that's another piece of this that he doesn't necessarily get. Obviously, they have gotten other pieces like Jalen Carter, Hassan Reddick over the years. Different players, but that was the major acquisition that started it all. So AJ Brown, to get your credit, you need to have a big game. So he's on my hot seat.
I like it.
Yep. So with that being said, let's get into the picks for the Super Bowl. The biggest game of the year. We got the Eagles going against the Kansas City Chiefs, trying to stop them as a three-peat champion. Who you guys got and why?
Let's do picks and score for this one.
Yeah, go. Picks and score? Okay. All right. Go ahead, Cass.
All right. I think it's going to be a close one. I do. I think it's going to come down to some big drives in the fourth quarter to kind of put it away. I'm going to go with the Eagles in this one. And I'm going to go with the Eagles with a score. And I think they're going to be the first team to get 30 on Kansas City this year. So I got the Eagles 32, Kansas City 24.
Okay. What say you, Chris?
You already know. I got to rock with my Eagles, man. I got to rock with them. It's gonna be a good game. I don't think it. I'm not saying a blowout, but I don't think it's gonna be close because if it gets close, for whatever fucking reason,
I
if
hear
it gets
that.
close,
I hear that.
some stupid shit happens. I just don't need to be close. I'm just put it that way. So I'm going with a score of 27-17.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So I am also looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a really good one. Obviously, it's a bit of difference in styles, but also kind of similar in styles because even though the Kansas City Chiefs pass a little bit more than the Eagles, a lot of their passes are more just runs, really like extended handoffs. And obviously, the Eagles have Saquon. They lean on him a lot and lean on Jalen as well. Last time they played, the Kansas City Chiefs obviously kind of dared Jalen Hurts to beat them, and he damn near did. And the difference in the game obviously was, it wasn't the only difference in the game, but the difference in the game was obviously the fumble for the touchdown. It was the only turnover in the game, and aside from that, Jalen Hurts played pretty excellent. I think again they're going to try to make Jalen Hurts beat them. And I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think that if I pick the Eagles, they're going to lose. So the Kansas City, every time, I pick against them, obviously the opposite happens. So, and, in all seriousness, it seems like it's just like a round of silliness from the Ravens, then a round of silliness from the Bills, and then somehow it's going to be a round of silliness from the Eagles. In some way, shape, or form, Saquon's going to end up trying to backwards hurdle into a fumble or some silly shit's going to happen that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to somehow win. And I'm going to go 27-24.
That's why I can't
Kansas
pick
City.
close cans because it's just
I
that
know.
shit he talking about.
What's gonna happen? A fumble snap on the field goal
Bruh,
kick,
some
and they
Because I mean,
catch
we
that
being
shit and
honest,
run it
like
back.
Shai just said, the play of the game was the fumble. It was unforced. He fucking dropped it.
Yeah.
He just dropped it. That was
that's that Chiefs. That's that voodoo.
Hey, but
they're in New Orleans too.
But everything else they answered. Jalen was able to answer. Obviously, a lot of it, what hurts the Kansas City Chiefs is that the Eagles do also have the best offensive line in the league. So, that blitz shit, we also talking about Jason Kelce, and that's going to be a big difference, in this game as well. That's probably not talked about enough. Jason Kelce and his, just knowing of the team, and just his knowledge, over obviously the years that he's been there, him setting the protections, how that might play a factor here in this game with obviously because the center Landon Dickerson and Juergens are both.
no, they're both playing. They're gonna be in their regular
be
position at guard center.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. So I'm excited, and then obviously everybody's gonna be talking about Drake at halftime because Kendrick's gonna be performing.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, man. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
Shout out Kendrick Lamar, five-time Grammy winner this past weekend. Shout out Beyonce. Shout out Dochi. But with that being said, happy Black History Month.
Oh yeah,
and happy Super Bowl week. We will catch y'all next time.
Yes, sir.